Alright, we're in. Finally, jeez. Sorry about that. My chat feed wasn't connecting properly. Now, disappear. There we go. Now let's continue with this. Owl statue. First day. How many masks did I get on this one? One mask. Ye who hold the sacred sword, ye have returned to the appointed spot. Bugger off. Alright. Turn this down. Yeah, I don't know why, the Nintendo 64 is just weirdly loud for some reason. Let me see this. And what was the song? I don't like how you can't navigate these menus with the D-pad. Alright, so let's go do Woodfall. So yeah, as you asked, Bane, I've seen that people are playing Project Resistance beta on Twitch. I've not looked into anything of it since the reveal trailer. I do have a bottle. Knew it. Always a fairy in that one. Just in case. So, the fun thing with Majora's Mask is while there are only 4 dungeons, or 4 real dungeons, those dungeons are generally tougher than their equivalents in Ocarina of Time. You're expected to have done Ocarina of Time before this. Like, this is harder than the Great Deku Tree. Oh, another fairy. So, there's a fairy. What's near me? Is there something down there? Yep. So there's a fairy. Majora's Mask loves its side quests. It has side quests in the dungeons. The side quest in every dungeon is to find the 15 stray fairies. Which for the stream we're not going to do because I don't remember where the 15 fairies are. And I'm not looking at a guide again. Not after Alundra. I'm not overly interested in Project Resistance at the minute, but I am open-minded enough to be willing to change my mind, I guess would be the best way to put it. I don't know, the idea of a third player, well, the idea of a 5th player control, you know what, I'm going to go back and get that fairy, this is going to irritate me otherwise. The idea of a 5th player controlling traps and monsters. I'm gonna have to go all the way back. There isn't no Deku leaf on this side. Yeah, I don't like the idea of a 5th player controlling traps and monsters and stuff. Like I say, willing to change my mind. Okay, so the trick with stray fairies, this is what the Great Fairy Mask is for. Didn't want that, wanted this. So yeah, with the Great Fairy Mask on, they'll start coming towards you. And if the Great Fairy's Mask's hair is shimmering, that means there's a fairy in the room. Okay, so the next one is there. Okay, so let's go and get that. What, you mean the 5th player control and stuff? You say it's just a beta, but it looked like that. Like, that was an important part of the trailer, the reveal trailer for it. Alright, but yeah, Majora's Mask, the dungeons are generally harder. Okay. Ooh. I hate it when I change my mind like this and decide to just make things harder for myself. I was going to leave the stray fairies until the Let's Play, but I'm going to regret having decided to do this by the time I get to Great Bay. Feel it. Yeah, look at the map. Where am I? Okay. Chest over there. Am I gonna make this? Yes. Small key, that'll be useful. Okay, and there's the fairy. Use the mask. Okay, so we're good for the minute. Damn it. If I kept holding forward, I would have been fine there. Okay, so door. Well, does the beta have anybody playing as the 5th player, or is that something being handled by Capcom? Come on. Come on. Why am I watching the stream? Jeez. Okay, did I get anything for that? Oh, there's a 3rd one. Now I should get something. There we go. So, Majora's Mask. We talk about Majora's Mask and nothing else in here. the dungeons being more difficult than Ocarina to begin with certainly is worth noting. Would I say this dungeon's more difficult than all 3 of the child dungeons? No. Haven't seen anything playing as the first one. I wonder if that's even something they've implemented yet. Well, the intention's there, but... Oh god, I remember I have to come back to this room, god damn it. And I will want the bunny hood. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, with Majora's Mask, like, I'm not entirely sure just how much harder I would call this dungeon. There's a sculpture around. There you are. Harder than... Harder than... Yeah, come back here with the bow. Harder than certainly Great Deku Tree, probably harder than Dodongo's Cavern. I don't know if I'd say this is harder than Jabu Jabu. Maybe? Okay. So here's a new thing Majora's Mask introduces. Those moths are now following me, and if they catch me while I have the flame, they'll start to damage me. Thank you. So there's another fairy in that room outside, but I'm gonna need the bow before we can get it. Awesome. Let's be fair, you know, lighting fires in the Deku Tree wasn't the best idea. This place is at least somewhat made of stone. The compass, now we can see where we are. I love the bunny hood in this game, it's fantastic. Crap, I didn't slow time down. Yes. Can't believe I forgot that. Okay. Okay, go. So one good thing is, while you're in a dungeon, they won't stop gameplay to tell you the time has changed. Honestly, I quite enjoyed the medieval game demo. I was expecting not to, but you know, as I tried to do, I went into it with a fairly open mind. There were positives, there were negatives. I'm not entirely fond of the new voice they've got for narration in the book, but beyond that, I thought it was fine. Combat's still really loose, but that's how it was in the original. You know what would be a better idea? Where are you? There we go. But yeah, I enjoyed the demo. I was expecting not to, because, like, you know me, I'm pretty down on the Crash and Spyro remakes. I don't think they have any real reason to exist, and if the Medieval remake isn't improving control, then really what's the point of it? But it was fine. Control was fine. Yeah, I'm not going to be picking up straight away, but that's partly because I'm not that much of I'm not in that much of a hurry to play it, and also I have a huge backlog. It is unbelievable. All right, let's go. Am I looking at this right? Well, it's numbered them. It's numbered them weird. That's not helpful to me. Okay, so would that be 9 then? Yeah, alright. I suppose my main hope from the demo really is that the Dan's helmet thing is not going to be exclusive to people who played the demo, especially with the demo being very limited time. If you don't get it before tonight, you can't get it. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's one of those things that if you didn't play it before tonight, you can't play it. I've seen that happen before. It's like I added in... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't realise that led down here. And like I did in post, like, it's like the Metroid Samus Returns on 3DS. There are 4 compatible amiibos with it. 2 Samus amiibos that came out with Smash, regular Samus and Zero Suit Samus. And then there's the 2 Metroid amiibos that came out with it. A new Metroid amiibo, and then a new Samus amiibo, and then an actual Metroid amiibo, which has the baby Metroid outside of the canister from Super Metroid. And one of those is required to unlock Fusion mode, which is the hardest difficulty and also puts you in the fusion suit. And the other is required to unlock an exclusive art gallery, and I don't like that. Yeah, I want to pick up the collection of mana soon, actually, and go through some of those. Actually make a proper start on the mana series. The series I've messed around a little bit in Secret of Mana, but I've never really gone that far into any of them. I played Children of Mana for about an hour once on the DS. I looked at Heroes of Mana. But like, overall, I've just never really done anything. I tried Sword of Mana once, and it didn't hold my interest. But I do want to pick up the collection of mana. Do Final Fantasy Adventure, do Secret. It'd be good. You guys, another one? It's the 8th one, it's 15. Where's the next one? It's over there. Yeah, I'm beginning to think I should have done this later. I've got Legend. Don't look at that. I should have changed that. Okay, I got... Wonderful. Children was on DS. It's not particularly well regarded. Neither is Heroes. I have Legend. I got it off the American PSN. And that is a game I want to go through at some point. I've got Final Fantasy Adventure. I have Secret of Mana thanks to the Super Nintendo Mini. Let's be fair, we've all got Seiken Densetsu 3 at this point. But I'd like to go through the official translation, honestly. So I do want to pick up Collection of Mana soon. It's on sale actually on the eShop right now until the 13th, but I don't think I'm going to have the money for it before then. So we may have to wait till after Christmas. As far as the Final Fantasy VII remake goes, I'm gonna... As far as the Final Fantasy VII remake goes, I'm gonna leave that for a while. And I'd rather do the original Trials of Mana before I do the remake. It might be worth, if you are definitely interested in grabbing Collection of Mana, and I know you're into your physical stuff, Square, I got an email from Square yesterday, I think it was. They're doing a physical version, but it's probably going to be limited quantities. So it might be worth picking that up now while you can. Yeah, I mean, we've all got Seiken Densetsu 3. Anybody with any interest in fan-translated RPGs has Seiken Densetsu 3, just like I've got Mother 3, just like I've got Police Notes. They might have done, I didn't pay much attention to it. Particularly because a lot of these Switch physical editions of previously digital-only games, they're coming out for like £50 versus like 30 for the digital version. I'm like, yeah, no. Oh, come on. No. Give me a look. I've probably still got the email in my deleted folder. Give me a minute. Let me check. Wasn't today. Here we are. Oh, it's available now. Limited print run physical edition. Available now, yeah. From the looks of it, my guess would be that they want you to go through the Square's actual shop on the website. Yeah. See, if I'd gone and done this Switch first, I would have saved myself so much time. Okay. Which room is this? This is that room. Is there another one in here? Shoot a beehive underneath a higher platform. Let me get a better look at that. That's going to be after I get the arrows. Alright. But yeah, it's out now, and chances are it's more expensive than the digital. Digital goes for $35 when it's not on sale. So here's an interesting thing. This is a Dynalphos. These are tougher than Lizalphoses. I don't think the Lizalphos appears in this game. If you recall back to the Ocarina of Time stream, I was actually really surprised when these guys turned up because I forgot they were in Ocarina of Time. They appear in the optional dungeon, the Gerudo Training Grounds, and the final dungeon of Ganon's Tower. And that's it. But here, they're in the first dungeon. Anyway, let's do this. The bow with a completely new design for Majora's Mask. Now let's see how well I can aim on the actual 64 controller. Hopefully better than I did on Wii U. Okay, nothing in here as far as I'm aware. I'll do this right now. The positioning for that is really weird. What direction is it? It's over there. Alright. While I'm here... This might take a minute. When do I get fire arrows in Snowhead? I think that was too early. But yeah, £30 for the physical? That's better than what it goes normally digital. And Square's making out like it's a limited run, a limited print thing. There we go. Have I not been in that room? Did I have to do that? At least the water isn't poisoned anymore. Okay, we'll move this. You know, somehow I think they've mixed up this with the 3DS version. Or I might have shot the wrong beehive. Let me try that again. Different beehive. Yeah. And now I know the next one. But yeah, no, £30, yeah, I'd pick that up. If I don't end up picking it up while it's currently on sale, see about picking it up for 30 physically. Cannot complain at that. Can't. You can never cancel out of that. It's not gonna work. That might work, actually. Let me put the fairy mask on. Yeah, I did that. Can I pop it like this? There we go. Might as well do it that way. Couldn't do that before because of the poisoned water anyway. So that's 11. That's 11. 4 more. Okay. And so the last 4 are all in the room before the boss room. Alright. Is there a point to that? I don't have a boss key yet. What rooms haven't I been in? This is it. Oh, that one over there. So, I mentioned in the last stream, a hack for the 3DS remake of this game called Majora's Mask 3D Restoration Project. One of the single best improvements they've made, which honestly is astounding Nintendo didn't do it themselves. They mapped the 3 transformation masks to 3 directions on the D-pad. Which just makes it so much easier because you're always going to want access to the transformation masks. Go get the target. It really sounds like it's just saying wiggling as it pops on. Gotcha. So the fun thing with the frog, you might be thinking, why is it turned into a frog? There's a side quest involving 5 frogs throughout Termina. 2 of the frogs you have to find are that monster. There's this one, and there's another one, which is a sub-boss in the Great Bay Temple. We can't do anything with it now. Alright, we've got the boss key, we can get going. But yeah, no. £30, good deal. I'll be after that. Okay, so the last 4 fairies are in here. Let's see, there's that one. That one. Let's sort this right now, actually. And then, as I climb down, we will use the Great Fairy Mask. Do you want to get over here? 13. So where's 14? Oh, there we go. 14. There's 15. Bada bing. All the great fairies. When you get a Switch, you have to let me know. I'll add you. We'll play Smash. I like Smash. I don't play Smash as much as I used to. I threw like 70 plus hours into it like the first few months. Like since then I've put maybe another 20 hours into it. Where's this gonna get me? Nowhere. Miss me, sucker. Try it again. Come on. That's right. Which way do I want to go? Probably overthought this, didn't I? Yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff on Switch. Breath of the Wild's worth getting into. I'll complain about it? Nah, like now. But for like the first 30 or so hours, I was really into Breath of the Wild. It is a game worth playing. The question is whether you'll believe it's worth finishing. Oh, what a coincidence, I have all 3. Astral Chain is fantastic, I loved Astral Chain. I'm so glad I actually started playing it. Oh, here we are. Let's go and take on the first boss. I got Link's Awakening recently. Haven't touched it really. I got Octopath Traveler a while ago. Still haven't touched it. It's on my list. This is Odwalla. Odola. It's a very different kind of boss to anything you see in Ocarina of Time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember how to fight this guy. Watch out, the sword is a giant hitbox. They changed the way you fight all the bosses in Majora's Mask 3D. I don't remember how to fight this guy. I really don't. I'll tell you one thing, it has nothing to do with the Deku flowers. Big sword, big hitbox. We just use the Deku flower. Best way to avoid these things. These things will constantly drain your health. Interesting thing is, I remember how to fight Got your twin mode. I never remember how to fight this guy. Oh, this is good. Yeah, in the remake on 3DS, they added a Deku flower. They added a giant eye to all the bosses. That is their new weak point, which changes up how every one of the bosses is fought. Bombs? Gotcha. Oh, I'm doing this? Yeah, Woodfall is a very strange boss, especially as far as Zelda goes. And that's just kind of it. It's a weird boss. It really is. That's a wall down. And I suppose one of the most surprising things with this compared to the other dungeons is... Oh, there we go, the mask. Compared to the other dungeons, once you're done with the other dungeons, you are able to do a bunch more stuff in Clocktown and the areas around it. With this, you just open up a few new things in the swamp. That's kind of it. I love this song. I love this entire soundtrack. It's fantastic. It's really underrated. To order. So we also have the whole thing of Majora's Mask is regularly considered the darkest Zelda game, and there's an idea of that in what we've seen, but as we go forward, the Southern Swamp doesn't really have much of that. Snowhead really does, and aside from the constant dread of the world being about to end because the moon is about to come down on us, everybody in Clocktown has their own crises going on, and really pushes the idea of the nature of humanity and kind of thing, how we react when faced with this idea. I'm gonna need to throw the fairy away, damn it. The Southern Swamp doesn't really have much of that. There's one character who has something going on like that. But then Snowhead makes it a lot more apparent. Although I suppose we're also understating the idea that the entire swamp was poisoned. Hello. I'm Batman. Oh, you're very polite for a princess. I will say though, like, other games that you should really consider picking up for the Switch, Super Mario Odyssey is fantastic, and I really look forward to getting to it for Let's Play. It's going to be a good amount of time before we do. I want to do Sunshine first, and I suppose Galaxy and maybe 3D World, and we'll see. But Odyssey was honestly fantastic. My biggest problem with pretty much every 3D Mario game since Sunshine has been that I missed the more open design of Super Mario 64. And I was disappointed that no other Mario game did that. Mario Odyssey does that and does it brilliantly. It's fantastic. I love Super Mario Odyssey. I should go through it again just for myself. Where does this lead? Oh, this is where we were. Alright. Yeah, Mario Odyssey was fantastic. Exclusives. Smash Ultimate's really good, but if you played Smash, the main thing to say with Smash Ultimate is it's the best of them. If you've played Smash and you didn't like it, then if you played Smash and you didn't like it, then Ultimate's not going to change your mind. Mario Kart 8 is probably the best of the Mario Karts, but it's also got some of the... it still has the biggest issue with Mario Kart, which is the way items will wreck your game. We've unfortunately had the issue of a lot of ports to the Switch being very half done, with various problems, and also being overpriced. Like, the Resident Evil ports are the best example. Capcom has put Revelations 2 Remake, 0, 4, 5 and 6 on Switch. 5 and 6 aren't out yet, but they're coming. Remake 0, 4, 5 and 6 are all £30. And 5 and 6 aren't out yet, so you can't really say anything about them, except for, seriously, that price. But... Remake 0 and 4 all perform worse than other systems. Remake and 0 have some weird loading issues. Like, the load times are the longest on the Switch, longer than any other system, including the GameCube. And I think it's really sad that the Switch isn't as good as the GameCube for that. RE4 on Switch runs at 900p in docked mode, and it's trying to do 60 FPS and can't, so it's got frame rate issues. And I think, like, the biggest issue there was trying to keep 60 FPS, and they really shouldn't have. I think they would have been better off just going for 30 like all the previous versions before the Ultimate HD Edition on PC. And then just bump it up to 1080. Especially since it can't maintain 60. Well, they intended to follow Diddy Kong Racing up. They did intend to with Donkey Kong Pilot, I think it was, or Donkey Kong Racing. There was an idea that was in the works that never went anywhere. God, Diddy Kong Racing's a game that I have no idea what I'll do with. Maybe a stream at some point, but... The game's fun in multiplayer, but the adventure mode becomes unbearable. Do 4 races. Cool. Now do 4 races. Do 4 races. Cool. Now beat the boss. Okay. Now do 4 races again while coming first and collecting the 8 silver coins. Cool. Now beat the boss again, but harder. Oh, I never turned in that photo of the Daker King. Really? Because I didn't like the DS version. I thought the DS version was very inferior. But then you also didn't grow up with a 64, so maybe that's it. Alright, let me get a picture of this guy. Never played this before, that's fair enough. Now, let me get the bunny hood. Let's go get that mask. I really didn't enjoy the Diddy Kong Racing DS. Part of it was probably the forced use of the touchscreen gimmicks. I've tried it a few times over the years, I've just not got into it. Plus, they changed some of the cast. It was still developed by Rare, because Microsoft decided since we don't have a handheld to compete with, yeah, we'll put games on the DS. There's only a few, but it happened. Diddy Kong Racing happened, it was done by Rare. Megasalt Phantom War was published by Microsoft on DS. There was at one point an intention to put Halo on DS. Okay, so what we have to do is keep up with the butler. It is really recommended that you have the bunny hood for this. Keep expecting to drop fire from his candle, but that's actually just Danpei in Ocarina. The camera really doesn't help here. Should almost be done. Forgot about this. I think the use of the stylus depended on the game, honestly. Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks were never really games I was overly into. I never finished Spirit Tracks. And I've only done Phantom Hourglass once. But in some cases, Kirby Canvas Curse was pretty good. Made decent use of the touchscreen stylus. Here we go. Hello. Kirby Mass Attack was really good. Ghost Trick was really good. Phoenix Wright games were really good, but they didn't really make much use of the stylus because they were ports from the Game Boy Advance. I don't know. Like I say, there are some games that do really work with the touchscreen. There are some that don't. There is actually there's actually a ROM hack of both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks that allows you to use the D-pad and buttons instead. I've not really used it because the opening for both is kind of long and I can't be bothered sitting through it. Yeah, oh, I don't want to go there. I want to suck and swamp. Yeah, I never really understood why they took that feature out of the DSi. I have used the stylus in the 3DS. For specific games. But the 3DS is also less focused on the use of the stylus. I'm also not really fond of the 3DS stylus. Like the original, the DS Lite stylus was perfect. Damn it. Yeah, I love backwards compatibility in systems, especially handhelds. I love that the Vita is backwards compatible with the PSP and PS1. I love that the Game Boy Color was backwards compatible with the Game Boy. I love that the Game Boy Advance was backwards compatible with both. I love that the DS was backwards compatible with the Game Boy Advance. I really love that the Game Boy Advance, that the 3DS is backwards compatible with the DS. It's great. And then you add in the Virtual Console stuff as well, and it's a shame Nintendo and other publishers really didn't support it for as long as they really should have, especially with the Super Nintendo stuff. You know what? No, I've changed my mind on this. It is great, and it's one thing that really irritates me with the Switch. A complete lack of backwards compatibility. I mean, Nintendo consoles weren't backwards compatible until the Wii. But even then, like, that was one of the best things about the Wii. And hell, honestly, if you want to play GameCube this day and age, you're better off getting a Wii and then getting component cables for the Wii. Because they're so much easier to get than component cables for the GameCube. And then the Wii U being backwards compatible with the Wii was good. And like the whole thing Nintendo's done with the Switch Online service replacing the Virtual Console isn't a bad idea. The biggest problem has been how Nintendo has handled it. Like, the NES stuff came out, and for a year they were putting out 3 games a month for the NES. I love the PS1 support on PS3. Mostly because it's just a really easy way to get good-looking visuals out of the PS1. The lack of PS2 support, yeah. I mean, I spent ages trying to get decent video quality out of the PS2. Even then, the biggest issue with the PS2 is a similar issue to the Nintendo 64. It just doesn't look good. It outputs a very poor quality signal. There's a channel in particular, you want to take a look at the Nintendo 64's actual video signal. There's a channel on YouTube called My Life in Gaming, which I think we may have both mentioned independently at some point. And their RGB series is fantastic, and the whole video they did on how to get the best video quality out of the 64 was impressive. What really also highlighted the points of why the 64 looks so bad. And so I've got it set up now with the S-Video signal, and it looks better than composite. I've got it hooked up to the S-Video to HD converter, so I can actually play it on my TV, and it's passable. But when I look at it, and every now and then the thought will pop, God, I don't want to... No. I'll look at it and every now and then I'll think, wow, this actually looks pretty poor. I think the issue there is because it recognises a DVD and it's not got a DVD drive. Anything else I want to do here? I don't think there is. I don't want to do the 3-day game at the Lover's Shop. Yeah, let's go. Alright, let's go to the mountains. I need arrows. But yeah, like, the PS3 will give you a better video signal than the PS2 will if you have a backwards compatible one. Because the PS2 also has pretty poor image quality. It really is surprising that of that generation, the 6th generation, the best video quality, like just overall, is really the Dreamcast. And I get away because it's gonna blow. But yeah, the Dreamcast with the VGA output and just how simple it was. And how many games on that system support it. It's the best video of that generation. Yeah, the backwards compatibility was never perfect. There is a list of games that won't actually work on PS2 from the PS1. It's a small list, but it's there. There we go, arrows. And bombs, though we don't actually need bombs. Although that does remind me I could do with equipping the blast mask, because we'll be getting some use out of that. Ah, it's one of those caves. Yeah, the GameCube had the option of 480p progressive. In some games, a lot of games didn't. And you run into the issue of a video solution for the GameCube. Component cables were rare and they're now very expensive. Your best solution in this day and age, if you've got a certain kind of GameCube, is the GCHD adapter you can get. But even then, you've got the issue of a lot of your games not supporting that. Oh yeah, that's one of the best things about the Dreamcast, especially, like I've said, I've only properly got into the Dreamcast this year. I'd never had one before, and I'd only played one once for maybe an hour, years ago. Well, actually picking one up has been so interesting. Interesting, really fun. It's something I definitely don't regret. And I have sunk some money into it, particularly with the video output solutions, and I'm happy with the result. It looks fantastic, it really does. So here's something that I actually completely forgot to bring up. Each of the 4 areas you have you have the Southern Swamp, Snowhead, the Great Bay, and Ikana Valley. Each of the 4 areas, the music track is the same melody with different tones, which is really interesting. Yeah, Dreamcast is super cool. And like, if you're a person into retro game, which I know you are, Bane, like me. If you're a person into retro gaming, the Dreamcast is well worth picking up. And then go out your way for that VGA signal. And then get yourself a VGA to HDMI converter of some kind. And it's like, oof. even the like I've got 2 converters now. The first one was fine. Converted the signal, it looked fine. The issue was the capture card wouldn't pick it up, which is why I got the second one. And the second one, the only real issue I have with it is it outputs weirdly dark. But the quality of the video signal speaks for itself, and you don't get that out of the PS2, you don't get that out of the GameCube, and I don't think you get it out of the Xbox. But it's been that long since I've had an original Xbox, I don't know. Hello. No, I'm good, actually. So yeah, the swamp was poisoned. Snowhead is frozen. Honestly, I think you really have to just push yourself, which is the big thing with, like I've said it plenty of times, the Let's Play channel on the stream. Push myself. It ain't easy, but the push itself is more often than not worth it. I think really though, before you decide to pick one up, you do want to look at the games for the system and decide what would you actually be interested in. Okay, let me turn the bunny hood off, because that's actually going to make this harder than it needs to be. Because what we have here is invisible ice platforms. I suppose, really, the Dreamcast was an impulse buy for me. But then so much of what I actually buy is these days. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The stream is... like, the stream and the Let's Play, the schedule that I set for myself, is about the main motivation for me. Because I've set this schedule now, and I don't want to let that schedule slip. Oh god, that frame rate. Hello. So this is a ghost. But yeah, no, Snowhead is frozen over. Kind of ironic, actually. It's called Snowhead, and it happens to be frozen over. Okay, is he going to get here? Yeah, there's not really much in the way of side quests for us to do before we finish the next dungeon. Did we lose him? doing there? But yeah, like I say, like the stream and the channel, the big pushes for me to play stuff now that I've started them. And in a bunch of cases, it's all I'm really doing with them. It's the only time I'm really playing games for a lot of the time. I have silver, I should look into that. Skies of Arcadia really is a case of play it just how you can get it. And if you get it as Legends, not really a need to go and play the original. Particularly since one of the biggest improvements of Skies of Arcadia Legends, one of the biggest improvements of it, is that it cuts down on the random encounters and boosts the XP you get from each battle to compensate for it. I also have Grandia 2 on PS2, but I've heard that the PS2 version has major issues, and the Dreamcast version is still the best way to play it, even with the Grandia collection. No! Alright, let's do this. Sonic Adventure's interesting on Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure 2, you don't really need to have played on Dreamcast. Adventure, if you can play it on Dreamcast, cool, play it on Dreamcast. Adventure 2, if you've played Battle, you don't really need to bother. You know, let me see if I can figure out which way I want to go on this. Right left, because Adventure DX Director's Cut has problems, and it's one of the weirdest things with Sonic Adventure. Every time it's been ported over to something, it's gone buggier. But Adventure 2 Battle is probably the best version of Adventure 2. It adds enough, honestly. That's interesting, because I've heard a bunch of people say Grandia 2 is a far better RPG. But that might be part of the issue of you playing it on PS2. I still need to get to Grandia. Thinking about doing some platformers that I've never done before for the stream soon. Of course, the issue with doing platformers for the stream is like looking at the chat during a platformer. Come on. Yes. Hello, good sir. Wait a minute, could I have another bottle yet? If I did the cafe side quest again, I could have a second ball. There's got to be another bottle I could have. I'm sure of it. So here we get into the idea of what the transformation masks are. So the Song of Healing comes in useful. The only ghost we've run across in Ocarina of Time is Dampé. We've no idea how he died, probably just old age or something, natural causes. Majora's Mask is different. Second transformation mask. Contains the spirit of a proud Goron hero. There's an important point to make. We didn't heal anyone's sorrows but our own for the Deku mask. And so there's no real connection to anybody, no real connection to a Deku. There are implications and hints, however, that the spirit of the Deku in the mask and the spirit that the Skull Kid cursed us with is the Deku Butler's son. And now we're Goron Link. And this is one of my favourite forms, actually. Hot spring water. So we use the hot spring water. On this guy. You always gotta be careful with this kind of ice. Because just like Ocarina of Time, this kind of ice will freeze you upon contact. Okay, now I want to go back in there and get some more hot spring water. Okay, now we've got a limited amount of time before this cools and we have something to do. Okay. I love getting around with the Goron. It's one of my favourite things about Majora's Mask, that it changes your abilities up like this. No. 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 There you are. Good day, sir. Then just touched just a hot spring. I rolled in it, bathed in it. Snow would hate me now. Oh no, I need to go. I need to go to the village and see someone. I forgot I do actually need to speak to the baby. Hello. Okay, now we can head back. Hopefully the guy hasn't frozen over again. He probably has. Yeah, he's frozen again. I'm gonna have to climb back up that stupid thing. So nice controlling this with the Nintendo 64 controller again. It's been years since I've done this on 64. Made it. But yeah, no, the Dreamcast's really cool, but like if you're gonna buy one, you really do have to decide, like, is there enough there to justify it? It's like when you ask me, what would I be interested in on a Saturn Mini, and I could not give you a good answer. What would I be interested in on a Saturn Mini? What would I be interested enough to actually get anything to do with the Saturn? Mostly ports. And you're like, that's not great. Curiosity is not a good reason to go and buy a new system. Yeah, let's do this again. Remember rightly, the hole up there actually on that little cliff mountain side thing is actually another hot spring. You got any examples of that, Bane? Like, were they all retro systems or modern systems? Because, like, yeah, sure, alright, you go out and you buy, say, a Switch based on one game. And there's still stuff coming out for it, and chances are a good amount of that stuff's going to interest you. But like, you go for an older system, a system where there are no games coming out for anymore, and you can look through the entire libraries, and if there's still only one game that interests you, that's not a system you want to pick up. Let's see, why did I get those systems? I got the Game Boy Advance because I was young and the idea of it was really cool to me. I was like 11, maybe, when I got the Game Boy Advance. So there was the optimism there of this system's going to have games that I'll like. So there was that. By the time of the DS, I was really interested in a lot of the early DS weirdness. You know, I'm sure there's at least one game put out in 2007 for the Game Boy Advance, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the Final Fantasy ports. Those games came out late. What was I saying? Yeah, a lot of the advertisements for DS games early on in its life were weird, kind of things I'd never seen before, like Trauma Center or Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and they really intrigued me, and I did end up getting them, and Phoenix Wright was the game that got me into visual novels. It was fantastic, and I loved the series, and I still need to finish Spirit of Justice. The PSP I got later on, and by the time I got it, there was a bunch of stuff. There were the Grand Theft Auto games on there that were basically full console Grand Theft Auto games, which really interested me, which I've still not played all the way through. The idea of portable PS1 games was really cool. I had a friend in college, I didn't have a PS3 at the time, I had a friend in college who stuck Final Fantasy VII onto my memory card for me so I could play it on the PSP. It was awesome. Let's go. Actually, no, there is something I want to do now before I go to the dungeon. I forgot that I want to do this now. Not complete and boxed, it wouldn't be. See, I have 2 sticks. Alright. And like, just the idea of PS1 games on a handheld was fantastic to me at the time. And of course now I have my own specific PSP that I prefer. I have my PSP Go, which I think is fantastic. Especially for PS1 stuff. Playing PS1 stuff portable, it has the downside of them being old games, not made to be played portable, so save points in those games were never very considerate of your time. Damn it, what did I miss? There we go. So yeah, no, save games in the PS1 were never very considerate of your time. And so the PSP Go, having the pause game feature, which is essentially a save state, is fantastic. God, I would have loved that. I'd have played more Final Fantasy VII than I did. Go away. Right, what I want is to break a specific pot. And I have no idea which one it is. I'm just going to keep going until we hit the right note. And I say I have no idea which one it is, not because I've forgotten, but because they all look the same. Wasn't it? The Metal Gear Solid games, Portalbox and Peace Walker. 2008, Peace Walker wouldn't have been out. I don't think Peace Walker was out by the time I got one, which would have been in college, so 2010 maybe? But Crisis Core was definitely a game I wanted to play, and my friend gave it to me. So that was cool. Played the crap out of Crisis Core. And now we're at the point where I've not played it in years. Because, you know, it's just not on the PSN and I couldn't play it on the Vita. Crap. The Vita I got mostly for one game. And that was Persona 4 Golden. The fact that Persona 4 was available on a handheld, and it was like, oh, it's got extras. I was like, this. And as time went on, like the Vita has a fantastic library, and it's really understated. Yeah, I know Portable Ops was really early. Peace Walker 2010 makes sense. Because it was definitely after 4. It was after 4 and 4 Rising. And it ruined the point of 4's ending. And then 5 came along and just exists. And people are there telling you it's the best game ever, and it's really not. It's the last one, really. The Vita has appeal if you know what to look for. It has a lot of fantastic JRPGs that are exclusive. It has some great dungeon crawlers. Visual novels on it are really good. And of course there's the PSP and the the PS1 stuff, which honestly, you get yourself one of the original Vitas with the OLED screen, and it's basically the best you're going to get a PS1 game looking at all, with outside of like straight emulation on a PC. Come on, come on. Why did I have to put the last one? Yeah, I got a Vita before I got a 3DS. I had a Vita for years before I got a 3DS. 3DS was neat and all, and it had some stuff that interested me. But as someone who's really into the JRPGs and stuff, and like, you don't appeal to me with Pokemon these days. And so like that wasn't going to be the thing that pulled me in. And like I say, Persona 4 Golden was the big selling point, and I got all the stuff for it. PS Plus didn't suck back in those days, so I ended up with some good stuff on PS Plus. Freedom Wars was really good, I played that a lot. It's how I played Gravity Rush, which I really enjoyed. Gravity Rush, which I really enjoyed. Uncharted Golden Abyss I played like through PS Plus, which I quite enjoyed. A lot of people gave Golden Abyss crap, but I thought it was better than the original Uncharted. Rogue Legacy I got on PlayStation Plus, and Rogue Legacy is fantastic. And then I ended up expanding my library. The Metal Gear Solid HD collection, portable, that's like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on Vita are awesome. Really good conversions by Armature. It takes the basis of the HD collection that Bluepoint made and converts it to Vita. Bluepoint did the HD collection, Armature did the Vita conversion, and they're fantastic. They play really well, they look really good, they're awesome, having them portable, and they work great. The Sly trilogy on Vita, which was how I first played Sly Cooper. Persona 4 Golden, of course. Tearaway was a really good Vita exclusive. Even now, you can get Tearaway Unfolded on PS4, and I don't think Tearaway Unfolded is anywhere near as good as the original Tearaway. The idea is the same. But Tearaway was a game that, like, as nicely as I can put it, Tearaway was a game that was made to make use of the Vita's gimmicks, despite being made like years after the Vita, like a couple of years after the Vita came out. Usually around the time where everybody stops using gimmicks. Tearaway was made to use the Vita's gimmicks, the touchscreen, the back touchscreen, the camera. And it all works really well, and it's really charming for it. Tearaway was really good. Disc Gear 3 and Disc Gear 4 on Vita are really good. If you like Disc Gear, it's great on Vita. Especially since you can get the first 4, the first 2 on PSP, which are like the best versions. I say that now that you can get Disc Gear on PC and Switch, you can play Disc Gear 1 in HD. But like content-wise, there's nothing new in either of them. PSP's fine. Disc Gear 2 hasn't been. I think Disc Gear 2 might be on PC, but it's not on Switch in any form. So like, if you like disc, you can get 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Vita, which is really good. And those games will keep you busy. Now I need to get to Snowhead. I need to have more momentum. What else is there? The Vita is how I played Deception 4, which I really enjoyed. There is good stuff on the Vita. It's one of the saddest things about the Vita, that people were convinced there was just nothing on Vita. And there is. How do I get over there? I completely forget how I actually get over there. Let's leave that for now. Hit it. There we go. There's a bunch of games that came out on PS3 and PS4 and also Vita, so the Vita can be a good way to experience that stuff, portable. It ended up being a really good place for indie games. So that's the blizzard that blew Darmani into that chasm and killed him. It's actually an invisible Goron. But I eventually got the 3DS, and by the time I did, by the time I picked up the 3DS, there was a lot of stuff out for it. I suppose even now that both systems are essentially done with, there's still more on the Vita that appeals to me than the 3DS. But there's good stuff on the 3DS. I wanted Link Between Worlds, which I got. Smash 4 was out by that point, and I got Smash 4. I really enjoyed that. Shin Megami Tensei 4, which I really wanted, and the big issue with Shin Megami Tensei 4 is it was not released physically in this country, so I bought it digitally, and then like a week later it went on sale digitally. It was like, oh great. And there's been cool stuff for the 3DS. It's a solid system in its own right, and the backwards compatibility was great. I was really excited when Nintendo announced Super Nintendo stuff, because they ended up getting a new 3DS. The new 3DS XL actually was the one I got by that point. The Super Nintendo stuff I was really... I love Super Nintendo, I grew up on Super Nintendo. And there's great stuff on there. It's pricey, and there's not much of it. They really didn't go all out with it. What else is there on 3DS? There's Theatre Rhythm, which Theatre Rhythm is fantastic. I got Curtain Call. If you like Final Fantasy music, it's great. It's not that it has to be at the end of the life cycle. Nintendo's not doing anything for it. They refuse to say that it's done, but they're also not putting anything out for it. They're all like, no, the 3DS isn't done yet. But then their entire 2019 release schedule is devoid of 3DS games. Nintendo hasn't put out any 3DS games this year. And like, they never did enough with the Super Nintendo stuff. It's really a shame. A lot of the best games never came out for it. And it becomes one of the biggest, no, not you, get out of the way. Alright, we're at Snowhead. It becomes one of the biggest arguments for hacking the 3DS that you can find. That, because if you look on some of the hacking stuff, like hackers have straight up gone to the Super Nintendo emulator. And you can play basically any Super Nintendo game on your 3DS, on your new 3DS. Yeah, they might keep it going a little while longer, but I don't think they're going to put anything out for it. But yeah, like, pretty much any Super Nintendo game you can think of, it's on. You can put it on 3DS if you have your 3DS hacked. And it becomes one of the best reasons to do it for that kind of stuff. Get in there. And I think it's always one of the saddest things with a lot of the with a lot of hacking, the saddest thing is a lot of them you can look at them and think, oh, I can see why people do that, because they're doing stuff with the system that the actual system, the platform holders, aren't doing. Well, that was a direct hit. See what I can do from down here. Why does it look like it's stopping before it's getting there? But yeah, like one of the best examples of hacking something are always because it allows you to do something the system is capable of doing that the platform holders won't let you do. It's like the Wii U's great and I love the Wii U. Did you know that if you hack the Wii U you can play GameCube games on it? Nintendo could have been letting us play GameCube games on the Wii U, and they just never did. But then there's also the case of the 3DS came out, and it was a pretty high price point, and Nintendo dropped that price point within a year. And as an apology to anybody who bought the 3DS, they put out the as an apology to anybody who bought the 3DS for full price, they put out the Ambassador program. And there were 10 Game Boy Advance games in that Ambassador program. Why could I do that from that side? Yeah, there were 10 Game Boy Advance games on the Ambassador program. Nintendo never made them available to anybody else in any other way. They never put any other games on there. Meanwhile, you look at some of the hackers, and the hackers have got Game Boy Advance games running on 3DS fine. You can play Mother 3 fully fan translated on 3DS like that. The thing with the PSP was cracked early. I think that's the biggest thing with it. Huh. Yeah, the PSP was hacked early. That was Sony's biggest problem. And early on, I'd say there wasn't really a reason to hack your 3DS and hack your PSP, because at that point it was straight up piracy. Yeah, pretty much. But early on, the only real reason for hacking the PSP was piracy. Later on, there were better reasons. A lot of them having to do with playing PS1 games, honestly. Like being able to play PS1 games that weren't on the PSN. And now, of course, there's stuff like the fan translations and that. I think in the end, every company who fights the hackers is going to lose. It's just a matter of how badly they lose. But you look with the Switch, that exploit that was found that cannot be patched. Well, then Nintendo is one of the worst companies for the way they deal with that kind of thing. I mean, there was a report recently, actually, that Nintendo had won a high court case in the UK to force ISPs to block access to any site that will instruct you on how to hack your Switch. Of course, the big issue with that, of course, means you're also probably going to be blocking access to Reddit if you go through with that. Because you can find everything on Reddit. And, you know, Sony's trying, not Sony, Nintendo's making a move with the newer Switches. There's the Switch Lite, which doesn't have the chip. I do think so. I think Sony was done with the handheld market long ago. Particularly with the way they did not care about the Vita. They dropped support for the Vita years ago, they just never announced it. It's the sad thing, early in the Vita's life, it had a lot of big support, and there was a big push for it's like, oh, it can handle like console level games. Sony made out that it could handle PS3 level games. It couldn't. What it could do though is PS3 level games that were ported properly. Some were, some weren't. Borderlands 2 was ported pretty sloppily. But you had other PS3 games that were ported really well. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is fantastic on Vita. Mortal Kombat on Vita is probably the best version of that game. It doesn't look quite as good as the console version, but it plays just as well and has a lot of exclusive content. Which fairy did I just get? But yeah, like early on, there was a bunch of big support. Capcom put out Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on Vita, and it was fantastic. Sony put out Uncharted, Golden Abyss, which was straight up console level. Ubisoft put out Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, which I have issues with. But again, console level game on a handheld. It's a big deal. Gravity Rush was a pretty big UIP for the Vita at the time. Need to find where I'm going, but like Tearaway was probably like the last big thing Sony really did. I want to go downstairs, don't I? Tearaway was probably the last big thing Sony did for the Vita, and then they just kind of dropped it. The Vita was really kept alive by third-party stuff, a bunch of the quirky Japanese stuff that was going on, indie games, visual novels. There was stuff going on, Sony wasn't part of it. Where I'm after? I think it is. But again, like console level games, Resident Evil Revelations 2 came out, and pretty early on, Sony said they were going to publish a Vita port for the game. And they did. The Vita port came out a few months after the game finished, because it was episodic. And it's a graphical downgrade. I still need to play Criminal Girls, actually. I've heard the gameplay is actually decent. Revelations 2 on Vita was a graphical downgrade, but as far as ports go, it played fine. Compare that with the Switch port, which has serious frame rate issues. But that may also be another part of the problem with how the Vita's perceived. Is there a torch I can use in here? No. I need those fire arrows. But the way the Vita is perceived, it was really kind of sad that a lot of you'd end up with a lot of games on Vita being digital only, but then stuff like Criminal Girls or Galgun, for the love of God, Galgun got a physical release. And it really does make the Vita, if you ever see a set of Vita games on a shelf in the shop, it made the Vita look like a system for the kind of person who carries a body pillow around. I have no idea where I want to go. And I've tried some of these games. Conception 2, Children of 7 Stars, was one that I tried. It's like, I don't want to judge a book by its cover. Conception 2, the idea was fairly interesting. It was basically Persona, but instead of fusing personas, you conceive a star child with a compatible girl. It was Persona with sex, really. But if the gameplay's decent, sure, whatever. The gameplay wasn't decent. It's like, I remember saying it to Maya, who I used to do commentaries with. Like, if they spent half as much time refining the gameplay as they had writing innuendos in the dialogue, it could have been a half-decent game. It's getting there. Can I work that around somehow? You know what? I'm overthinking this. Just treat it like a spider web. We can't just treat it like a spider web, of course not. But yeah, the Vita's a solid system that just... I'm glad I own one. I'm really happy I own one. And now that Sony's done with it, like, it is a system worth hacking, because there's a lot of good stuff for it that you can get through hacking. The adrenaline plugin that you can get gives you full access to the PSP side, which means you can play the PSP games and the PS1 games that weren't put on PS, which means you can finally play Crisis Core on the Vita. For the love of God, Square, why didn't you put that out? And it looks fantastic on Vita. I'm sure I need to do something here. And, of course, fan translations are always great. You know, actually, another game that I really enjoyed on Vita, that was a console game, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which I say was a console game. It was not a console game in Japan. It was a Vita game, and then it came out in the West, and they ported it to the PS4. Oh, I have a key! I've been running around in circles for nothing. Yeah, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. I got that game and I played the crap out of it. Tell me this is fire arrows. It's the compass. Yeah, I really enjoyed Cyber Sleuth on Vita. But for the Western release, they ported it to PS4. So you can get it on PS4. If you want to or not, that's your choice. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I played it on Vita. Cyber Sleuth is actually one of the few games, because I got a PS TV when I got my PS4. It's like you look at the price of PS TVs now, and they go for stupid money because people want them now. But I got my PS TV free with my PS4. And Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is one of the few games that I actually I was really enjoying it. And as a result, what I did was I ended up transferring my memory card over to the PS TV so I could just keep playing it because my Vita's battery was dead. Digimon World Next Story, Digimon World Next Order is the same thing actually. No, I remember this room. I don't need fire arrows, I need the bow. Digimon World Next Order is a Vita game. In the West, it was ported to the PS4 and released. The difference between Digimon World Next Order and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is Digimon World Next Order didn't get a Western release for its original Vita version for some reason. And even crazier, somebody found out last year, the year before, someone found out at some point, if you go in the Asian version, because there we go, the version that was released in Asia, which is separate from the Japanese version, it turns out there's a full English translation available in those files for the Vita version. It's completely unused. And so somebody hacked the game to be able to use it. And if you have a hacked Vita, you can play Digimon World Next Order on Vita in English. I need to get around to Next Order actually. I started it up. I have it on PS4. I started it up and didn't really do anything with it. I want those red rupees as well. But yeah, as far as stuff like Digimon World Next Order goes, we've seen it now with the 3DS as well. Dragon Quest XI in Japan came out on PS4 and 3DS. We didn't get the 3DS version. I'm really disappointed with that because the 3DS version was the version I was interested in. It looked really cool. And now I've got it on Switch. Awesome. Six. Alright. But I think that kind of thing is really the sign that the system's dying. Of course, the weird thing with Digimon on the Vita, though, is Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, which is a sequel to Cyber Sleuth, and came out after Next Order, came out in the West on Vita and PS4. So I have no idea why they only excluded Digimon World Next Order from getting a Western release on Vita. Boom. Can't break through that even with the Goron ball. Oh, now we're up here. I like that. What can I actually do up here? Can't get that. Yeah, it was a long-winded ramble about the Vita. Oh god, this is Wizrobe, isn't it? Wizrobe's debuting in 3D. My advice, stand in a corner. You'll always know where he's coming from then. There we go. Yeah, it was a long-winded ramble about the Vita, but it was like, I don't know, overall, it's a solid system. If you look into it, you'll find stuff. You'll probably find stuff worth getting for it. If nothing else, you can look at it as a higher grade PSP. I'm gonna want fire arrows. Is it the best handheld system? Who knows? Well, you can have a lot of fun with it. Take that. Finally start doing stuff here. I'll definitely say the Vita is the best way to play PSP. The second analog stick works wonders for a lot of things. Even in games you never really noticed it before, like if you played Dissidia or Duodecim, the game works really well without camera control, but it has camera control mapped to the D-pad. Didn't want to do that. It has camera control mapped to the D-pad. You can map the D-pad to the right analog stick, and all of a sudden, wow, you've got camera control in Dissidia, and it actually makes the game better. So the main issue with fire arrows is the magic cost. And you know, going back to hacking again, one of the single most interesting things done in the hacking scene for the Vita has been right analog control for a bunch of PSP games on Vita. Like, the 2 Grand Theft Auto games. I don't think the problem with the C-stick on 3DS is that it's too high. I think the problem is it's a nub. It's not an analog stick, it's a nub. And it's basically the same kind of thing you used to get on laptops. And I think it's horrible for camera control. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that the new 3DS has if it wasn't for the fact the new 3DS does have an actual advantage over the original, for a lot of stuff, for the use of the right analog stick, I would just straight up prefer the Circle Pad Pro for the original 3DS. Because that's a second slide pad, and it's stupid that Nintendo didn't learn the biggest problem that the PSP had. It's like the single biggest problem with the PSP was the lack of a second analog stick, and Nintendo should have learned from that because Sony did. Of all the places to land. But yeah, Sony learned from it. Nintendo should have. And it should have been a better analog stick when they finally did put it in. But yeah, like somebody's put right analog stick control in a bunch of PSP games. The Grand Theft Auto games on PSP, Splinter Cell Essentials, the 2 Tomb Raider games. The 2 Prince of Persia ports. And it's not the D-pad mapped to a right analog stick with the D-pad controlling the camera. It's actual analog control, and that's really cool. And it's really interesting to see hackers and modders go above and beyond the original system ideas. Okay, where is the next fairy I'm after? How many do I have? 7. We're almost halfway done. I don't know where that room is. Right atop one of the pillars. Yeah, it was, like I say, it was the biggest problem with the PSP, the lack of a second analog stick. And it made a lot of the console ports weaker. It made a lot of the 3D games weaker. Because, you know, by 2004, it's like, I'll forgive Sony, particularly in their first run at a handheld system. Particularly in Sony's first run in a handheld system. I'll totally forgive them for not putting the second analog stick in. It's an understandable omission. They fixed it with the Vita, Nintendo should have taken lessons from that, and they didn't. Okay, I think I might know where I want to be. But then even worse, when Nintendo finally did get a clue and put the C stick on the new 3DS, and it's crap. The C stick as a nub is crap. It really is. It should have been like a second slide pad. And they could have kept it in same design as the Wii U, which they were still working with at the time, and have the second analog stick be on top of the buttons, be above the buttons, like the C stick is right now. Okay, let me do this. Yeah, Nintendo should have learned, and they didn't. And it's one of Nintendo's biggest faults, that they're stubborn for no real reason. They want to do their own thing, fine, cool. But a lot of the time, when they do their own thing, it does negatively affect something. Sometimes it works out well, a lot of the time it doesn't. Yeah, I don't understand why I couldn't have got that earlier. That's 8. I got one apparently before I was supposed to, I don't know which one it was. Alright. But yeah, like I say, one of the best understated features of the Vita is straight up analog, the second analog stick for, oh god, a second analog stick for a lot of the PSP stuff, because a lot of PSP games map their camera control to the D-pad, and you can map the D-pad to the right analog stick when you play PSP games, and it works more often than not. So my buddy Jesse loves to talk about how great Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops is. And it's like, dude, I could not play that on PSP. With how essential camera control is in that game, and having to use the D-pad and the analog nub at the same time, no. Okay, I want to leave this room and go back. Of course the Woodfall should yeah, if I push it here, it's gonna work. If I push it up, it's gonna work. Yeah, it'll work anyway. It makes no difference. My only real problem with Portable Ops was always the controls. And like I say, playing it on Vita, map the D-pad to the second analog stick, it works fine. Peace Walker works better that way as well. I'm gonna hate getting all these fairies together for the Let's Play. Alright, I know where I need to be next. Portable is a game I actually need to finish, but my only real complaint with it on PSP was the controls. It's why I never did Peace Walker on PSP, but Peace Walker got a re-release on the HD collection. Can I go anywhere here? Yeah. This ain't where I want it to be. But I can get to where I want to be from here, so it's fine. I think Peace Walker, though, more than Portable Ops, really suffered as a single player experience. Because if I remember rightly, Portable Ops had a multiplayer focus, but it had a specific mode for it. Meanwhile, Peace Walker, like, have you ever played Peace Walker, babe? You don't know, I want to put the mask on, I'll save the magic. There we go. I've dabbled on Snake here on 3DS, I've not played it properly. You have Peace Walker. Peace Walker is a good game. The problem with Peace Walker is they clearly wanted you to play that game multiplayer, and as a result the bosses are not balanced for one person. The game's great until you come to a boss fight, at which point the game is honestly terrible. Yeah, where am I going next? Yeah, I guess just progress for now. Green door. Alright. But yeah, no, Peace Walker, the boss fights in Peace Walker are terrible, and they're not balanced for single player. Hell, I did a good amount of Peace Walker co-op once on the HD collection, and it still took ages to take down one of the bosses. The main reason I never finished it was because of how long it was taking to take down the bosses. It was just boring. And it really is a shame coming from, like, with all the problems you can have with Metal Gear Solid, the boss fights are usually at least interesting and unique. Not in Peace Walker. And I don't want any excuses about the hardware, because look at the boss fights they did on PS1. Weaker hardware than the PSP. Okay, I want blue door. This door. But yeah, Snake Eater on 3DS is something I really would like to spend more time with. for one real reason, and that is that it's a remake of 3. It's a straight up remake, and they've implemented a lot of stuff from the later games into it, and I want to try it out with some of that stuff like crouch walking. Like they've put crouch walking in Peace Walker. Not Peace Walker. Metal Gear Solid 3D. I'm curious about how it changes up the game. The question is, like I said before, with some of these games on the 3DS that use the second analog stick, well, yeah, I've got a new 3DS, I can use the C-stick. I don't like using the C-stick, I think it is essentially worthless as a right analog stick. And as we all learned with Snake Eater, and then the subsequent re-release with Subsistence, Metal Gear Solid 3 needs camera control. But, you know, it's a personal interest. I'm curious and I'll get to it someday, maybe. No! I'm gonna die in this temple. This will be where I'm buried. The good news is, though, once we're out of here, because we're gonna end the stream after we're done with this dungeon. Once we're out of here, there's plenty we can do before the next dungeon. There's a lot we can do before we go to the next dungeon. Even if we just head straight into the next area, there's a lot to do before the next dungeon. And I'm also going to have to reset the timeline and do the boss again, because we're on the second day. Right, where am I? Over there. Did you ever play Snake Eater 3D on 3DS, Spoon? I still don't have a key. But it doesn't matter because I can punch these out all the time. Still have somewhere to go. If I can make it. Nice. This takes us up. To the boss door. We're missing a bunch of stuff. For one, the boss door key. Okay. There's the boss key. If you want to check it, there is a demo for it on the eShop. That's how I've actually checked it out myself. Dinalphos. I can stand in lava, but if a Dinalphos breathes fire at me, But yeah, 13. There's a demo you can check out. It is how I checked it out. I think it's from the start of the game until you reach Sokolov, which can give you like 20 minutes, which is a decent length for a demo, I think. Oh god. We're on the other side of the locked door. Without the key. I don't think I've ever done it like this before. That's 14. I remember that one. Alright. And they're supposed to ambush you, but I came in the wrong way. So I've completely skipped a key. But yeah, check out the demo. The demo gave me enough of a taste of it to make me interested in the overall idea, but not interested enough to do it with the C-Stick. It seemed fine. Okay, one more. Try that again. Particular. Can I see where I'm going? I think it's on the left side. Let's give it a try. Frame rate just craps out there. I'm not seeing anything. And we're back down here. He wants help. Solid 3 is a game I have 4 times at this point. I have the Snake Eater on PS2. I have Subsistence on PS2. I picked that up for £7. I was really happy with that. I remember I saw it once in CEX. We're talking like years ago. And they wanted like £50 for it. I was like... maybe a year or so later, I saw it at a game shop I used to frequent in Ashton for £7. And, you know, you bet I picked that up. I had Metal Gear Solid... Oh, I have it 5 times now. I have the HD collection on PS3 and Xbox now, because it's backwards compatible on Xbox One. You better believe that's how we're going to be doing MGS2. I also have it on Vita, and like I say, fantastic port on Vita of 2 and 3. Playing really well. I wouldn't recommend playing either of them on the toilet though. You'll be there for a while. Okay, I need to figure out... That's the hole, isn't it? That's where it was. Alright, we got it. We got it, people. Now... let's see, where was that? It was up there. On that side? Which means I want to go right instead of left. There it is. Secret of Evermore's a game I need to get to. Right there, right there. It's become one of the it's become one of the problems of like the knowledge of collectible items has become somewhat problematic with a lot of people like this, because they'll assume anything they've got is that it's old. They'll assume is worth something. The smart people will do their research and figure out what's worth something. But of course, figuring that out is a two-part step. Chances are what you've got is an idiot who has looked online, found out they've got something, but hasn't realised the conditions on which they might have something. They've got something, they don't realise it's not how people want it. It's not this one. Is that a bit of the thing? Yeah, no, it's in box. It's got its book. Yeah, it's fine. And like that'll be the thing. It's like I have said before, like my one of my rarest games in, you know, rare not really being a case of, oh, you can't find it, it's just if you're gonna find it it's gonna cost you a bit, is Skies of Arcadia Legends. God damn it. However, I could never sell my Skies of Arcadia Legends for the standard asking price. Oh, what have you sent me, Bane? Let me see this. £4,000 for a new copy of Terranigma. Jeez. I mean, I get it wasn't released in the US, but you're not getting that. No one's paying that. If somebody's that desperate to play Terranigma, they're gonna emulate it. My copy of Skies of Arcadia Legends on GameCube would not go for that price because the box is messed up. It's an unfortunate fact of having 4 younger siblings. And not being allowed to just keep my games away from them. No, I was selfish if I tried to do that. So my first copy of Eternal Darkness got ruined. It was always a terrifying prospect to leave the house because far too often I'd come back and something of mine had been ruined. Alright. Where is it? There it is. Honestly, it's their fault. It's also my parents' fault for not letting me keep their stuff away from them. One of the few things I ever really did God damn it. That was actually quality time spent with my dad was when we built a Gundam model together. And it took a lot of time, took a lot of work, and we had it on display in the house because it looked really nice. It was a figure, it wasn't a toy. It was one of those ones that comes in pieces. It takes a lot of work to put together. I came home one day and it was in pieces because one of my siblings had asked to play with it and my mother decided, yeah, why not? It wasn't a toy. And of course there's the other stuff which is somewhat more typical in other families of I had my own Pokemon, it was my Game Boy, it was my Pokemon, all my siblings wanted to play it. Now it's like, no, it's mine, you're not allowed to play Pokemon because you'll erase my save. God damn it! Because you'll erase my save. And oh, lo and behold. Oh, you're being selfish, let them play it. Oh, there goes my save. Did it with this as well, I completed this on Nintendo 64. Back in the day, got all the masks. Really irritating with this. Completed this back in the day. Got all the masks. Came home one day. Oh no, save file's been deleted. Why? They're cool models. It's So I've not sat down and watched Gundam properly. I started watching Mobile Gundam Wing Seed. Let me check. I have it on my computer. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. I sat down and started watching it. Didn't really get that far. But like the designs of the Gundam, I think are really cool. And Gundam Wing is one of the old ones. The designs of the Gundams got way more intricate and interesting later on. I had a hard time getting into Metroid Prime when I was younger. I didn't get into it the same way I got into Fusion. I've never been that big into Super, personally. Fusion is probably still my favourite Metroid. There was a point when I was younger where I actually did start getting into Prime. Oh God, punch the damn thing. There was a point when I was younger where I actually did start getting into Prime, and I was really enjoying it. I went out one day and came home and found the save had been deleted from the memory card. No real reason why. Just been deleted from the memory card. It's not that way. Is it on the right? It's gotta be. I'm really glad now, in this day and age, that I'm able to have my own games, my own stuff that they don't get to touch. I need to work out where this is from where I'm going. It's not down there. It's not there. It's there. So it's to my right and back. There. My Twin Snakes was actually in... the box is fine. The game itself was in fairly poor condition for a while. I actually ended up getting the disc cleaned, properly repaired, years ago now. I was really happy just to have it working again. This is going to take a while. Unfortunately, this is the best way to do this. I was trying to jump off that platform before to actually get in there, and it just wasn't happening. This is the safest way to do it, the most guaranteed way. And this is why I don't generally go after all the fairies. Even if we've got this fairy, we haven't got the boss key yet. Although that shouldn't be too hard, there's only a few places left. You say that, the problem is we're not actually going anywhere. It's like if you've ever played Sonic Heroes, the flight characters have a meter that shows how far they can fly, but if you're just going straight up, it doesn't decrease. And it's the same with this, the flowers have a specific distance they can fly, a specific time they can move for. Going down doesn't decrease that. Okay, this should be the final fairy. I'll let you out of the chest, you're supposed to come here. If I remember rightly, this fairy gets us... that'll do. This fairy gives us double magic, which would be useful, except... No, it's a fake wall. We'll get the lens of truth on. You see? But then you see it outside of the lens of truth. See, like that. The next Great Fairy gets us double magic, which would be useful, but once we've done this dungeon anyway, we can do a side quest that gains us access to Chateau Romani, which is milk. It's a special kind of milk in this game that gives you infinite magic for a 3-day cycle. Been in every other room, we just haven't been in this one. We got distracted trying to get that fairy. I forgot you fight Wizrobe twice in this dungeon. I thought this fight was in a later dungeon. This one's a little trickier, actually getting into a good position to see all of them. But again, corner strategy. Again. Draw distance actually being something of a hindrance here. Might have made this room too big. Give me the boss key. The good news is, the boss we're about to do is one of my favourite bosses in this series. So we can end the stream on a high point. Take that. still haven't gotten that key. Need fire arrows to start this off. But yeah, we saw with Adolwa, the bosses in Majora's Mask are different to your standard bosses, and we're going to see that again with Got here. Got is one, like I said, Got is one of my favourite bosses in the entire series. Since they added the eye thing to every boss in the 3DS remake, they made this fight worse. And I really don't like it, the 3DS remake. Get after him. Meow. Oh, I hate when that happens. It seems random often. Most times, when you actually come out of your spiked ball state. Getting hit by the energy blast, sure, but sometimes you'll just come out of the spiked ball. You'll still be rolling, you just won't be spiked. Yeah, the 3DS version, you have to knock him over, a giant eye comes out the back, and you have to take the mask off and shoot the eye with an arrow. And it completely kills the pace of the fight. It's awful. Bam. Kind of makes me think of the mechanical bull in 1 and 2. It's getting there. So in the remake, the damage God takes is all about how much damage the eye takes. In this, it's just about hitting. Means the hits we're doing, like this, all matter. It's not about knocking it down. And it makes it a really fun, unique boss fight for the series. Every time I look away at the chat, I keep running into a stalactite. If God gets too far away, he'll turn around, wait for you, and once you get into his line of sight, he'll start shooting the energy balls directly at you. Like that. Well, he's got to see you. If you get it just right, you can knock him down as you're in the air like that, and end up coming down between his hind legs as they're stretched out. And you'll have nowhere to go, but you won't stop. You'll just be constantly spinning directly into him, and it's great damage, but it's not something I'm able to pull off regularly. Oh, there we go, like that. Get right in between the hind legs. Two down, two to go. You know, I wonder if next session we'll actually get to the third dungeon, Great Bay Temple. Again, we've got a lot of stuff to do now. Now that we've done this dungeon. There's a bunch of stuff in the mountains, there's a bunch more stuff in town, around town. And then there's a long sequence in Great Bay before we can get into the dungeon. You know what it's like, babe? It was speed and I had to put down spikes. And now spring comes to Snowhead. And in the swamp, all that changes is the water isn't poisonous anymore. In Snowhead, the entire environment changes because the snow's gone. The pathway to Snowhead is still snowy, but the mountain village, the pathway to the Goron village and the Goron village are now completely thawed. So we can get another bottle here. I feel like I should be able to already have another one. But with that, what we're going to do is we are going to head... Yeah, I don't want fire arrows, standard arrows. We're going to head to town, deposit some money, and then we'll call it a session. Look, actually, the bottles. Did I miss one? Kumi and Kotake. No, I haven't missed one. It's just that by the time we get to the next... yeah. Now we take a look here. Majora's Mask is unique in that we can have 6 bottles. It's just that by the time we get to the next dungeon, we can have the rest of the bottles. Well, I'm looking through here to remind me. We've got Goron Race, Romani Ranch, Beneath the Gravestone, Beaver Race, and Madame Aroma. We could have had Madame Aroma already, but we chose to get Postman Hat instead. And I've not gone through the side quest again yet. But now we could, before the next dungeon, we can get all 5 other bottles. But we're not going to get the Madame Aroma one, because to finish the cafe quest we need the Ice Arrows, which is the treasure of Great Bay. Yeah. The ice arrows are the treasure of Great Bay, and we need those to... No, we do not. We need those to get into a Carnival Valley properly. We don't need it to finish the side quest. We could have all 6 bottles next session. There is a lot of stuff we can be doing. We may not. We probably won't even get to Great Bay Temple next session. But this should open up a piece of heart for me. I don't like that you control this with the analog stick, is why I kept going over before. Just try and deposit more than I had. That's 1,000. That's the heart piece. I thought that was a heart piece. Is it 2,000 as a heart piece then? But yeah, next session we are going to... we're going to end up redoing the GOT fight. And we can take a look at how that works, which will be interesting. You know, I'll leave that for a minute, because it's quieter right now. We'll redo the GOT fight, and we'll take a look at how that works. Next session we can also do that. All 4 of those Deku leaves. Redo the GOT fight. Do that. We're going to head to Romani Ranch and do everything involved there. We could do both sculpture houses as well. There's a lot we can do. So that's really the thing, like, you finish Woodfall and you don't open up that much extra beyond just getting to Snowhead. You finish Snowhead and so much more opens up. We're also going to need to get the stone maps. Well, that's gonna do it for today. We've accomplished a bunch. I'm not looking forward to Great Bay Temple. I've said in the past, I think Great Bay is one of the most irritating temples to deal with, and getting all the fairies in Great Bay. Yeah, we will be back Tuesday, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time GMT, with more Majora's Mask. I'm enjoying this. It's nice to go back through this game again and really focus on it. Because if I was doing this on my own, I wouldn't have gotten this far yet. I'd have sat down and played it for an hour or so. I would have quit, probably in Woodfall. Not because it's like, oh, I don't feel like... Not because it's like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this. Because it's just like, if I start this, I'm going to have to be here till it's done. And do I have that much time? It's like, yeah, do I? I don't know. Yeah, special thanks to Bane for keeping company in the chat. I always appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who joined the stream at any point. I always appreciate the support. Once again, we'll be back on Tuesday, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time. We'll be continuing Majora's Mask and doing everything we can to not go to Great Bay yet. And it ain't just the Great Bay Temple. We ain't getting to that next session. There is not a chance. It is the Gerudo Pirate Fortress and the Zora eggs. I hate the Zora eggs. We're gonna have to do that for the hookshot anyway, though. Maybe I should just do that and get it out of the way. Once we have the song, I don't need to bother with it again. We'll see. That's for next session. But once again, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day, and I will see you all next time.